Welcome to the Pick Vault. Taking sports gambling to the next level. No more winging it. It's time to get paid. We're a sports gambling consultation firm. We use sports, news, sports data, stats, and analytics. And we help you unlock your money. Get ready to start winning. This is the Pick Vault.
It's the Pick Vault. Gonna sit you down and listen to this real talk. Ain't no first or second option, this the default. Turning picks into these dollars, gonna let them fall. Raining down these daily winnings like an aerosol. Analytics calculated just to win it all. Problems when it comes to choosing, we got all them solved. Got the picks that needin' fixed and you know who to call. Cause this the Pick Vault.
And that is J Live Official. Welcome to the Pick Vault, everyone out there. Today we have a great episode, a special edition of the Pick Vault coming to you live here for Thursday Night Football. And today, I have to say it, the guest is back. My sidekick is back. The co-host is back. Sally Picks 585 Bets. If you guys don't follow him yet, you guys are missing out. Again, one of the best cappers in the industry today is here today to help you unlock your money through the Pick Vault. Again, this podcast is the Pick Vault. Sally, welcome to the Pick Vault. What do we have going on today? Obviously, a great matchup between the 4-1 Buccaneers and the 2-3 Eagles. Let's dive right in here. What is your gut feeling telling you just off the bat? Right now, what's bubbling up inside of you, Sal?
So much is bubbling up inside of me. Not one of the best cappers. I am the best capper. Let's start right there, and let's dive into this Thursday night matchup. We got the Tampa Bay Bucs traveling to Philadelphia to play the Philadelphia Eagles. The line opened up at Tampa Bay minus 6.5. I think it's some books. It's up to 7.5 right now. Look, I think it's a trap game tonight. I think it's a trap game. I think the whole public, the whole world is going to jump all over Brady. I think they're going to hammer Brady. And I think it's not going to go the way the public thinks. I'm taking the Eagles. I'm taking the points. And we're going to make some money. And we're going to make some chicken fucking dinners tonight. Let's go.
Love it, love it, love it. So, again, you talk about both these teams. And obviously, like you said, a lot of the public is on the Buccaneers today, which is going to something we're going to dive into that later in this episode. But one of the main storylines this year is this Bucs team. I mean, they have to be one of the talks of the NFL in general. 4-1 to start the season. I'm going to run through their games so far this year. They win week 1, 31-29 over the Cowboys. Week 2, they get a big win, 48-25 over the NFC South competition, the Falcons. And then week 3, they get their first loss, their only loss on the year, obviously coming to the LA Rams, 34-24. And then week 4, they bounce back and get a very tight win in primetime football over the Patriots, 19-17. And then in week 5, they get a big win, 45-17 over the Dolphins. Again, an absolute abomination of a game last week. They get a huge win over the Dolphins and a big performance by Tom Brady. For the first time in his career, he gets 5 touchdown passes and over 400 passing yards. So right there, when you're talking about this team, I'm going to ask you point blank, is this Buccaneers team right now playing better football than the Buccaneers team that is the defending Super Bowl champion from last year? Are they playing better today than we saw them last season?
No, I don't think they are. I think they've been in a couple close games. They beat up on the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins are a very weak team. They're horrible. They're probably the worst team in the NFL. Week 1, they barely beat the Cowboys. Don't take nothing away from the Cowboys because the Cowboys are playing great football. Like I've said it week in and week out, they were a field goal. 10 points were left on the board that night, or else they win that game. And they've won 4 straight since that game. So the Cowboys are good. I don't take no credit away from that. I just think, listen, Tom Brady is playing way better than he played last year to begin the season. This guy is incredible. He's got to be at the top. He's got to be at the top right now at MVP. He's got to be. I don't even know if there's anybody that's really even close to him right now with the yards that this guy's putting up, the touchdowns he's putting up. I mean, he's playing great football.
Yeah, going off that, I mean, you touched on, he's got 15 touchdowns at 2 picks. I mean, that's incredible numbers, especially even for a guy like Brady. Brady is known for throwing a few picks down the stretch in games, specifically when he was in New England, known for throwing the ball all over the field. All of a sudden this season, 149 for 225 passing the ball for almost 1,800 yards. He has 1,767 yards so far this season. He's putting up crazy numbers. You mentioned it's like we're watching a video game. This guy's 43 years old, and he's putting up better numbers today than we've ever seen from him. And a lot of that has to do with that offense. I mean, you look across the board, that offense is stacked top to bottom. I mean, right now, even without Gronkowski, I mean, obviously he doesn't have Gronkowski today. That's a storyline we got to mention as well. Gronk was his target in the beginning of the season. The first 2 games, he had 2 touchdown passes, and ended up with 4 touchdown passes in the first 2 games to his guy, Gronkowski. And now you look across the board, he's got Mike Evans stepping up. He's got Antonio Brown stepping up. He's got Godwin stepping up. This team is stacked top to bottom. And then when worse comes to worse, when he can't get the ball down the field, all he has to do is hand the ball off to Leonard Fournette, and Leonard Fournette does the rest. So this team right now, yes, their defense might not be where it needs to be or where it should be at this point in the season, but it comes down for me as this team, this offense is playing better football now than we've ever seen in the NFL.
You're correct about that, and I'm not taking nothing away from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I just think when they played some competition, like the Rams this year, you see what the Rams did to them, okay? They played some competition in the Dallas Cowboys, and the Dallas Cowboys should have won that game. So, look, they're a beatable team, okay? They're a beatable team, and like I said, Tom Brady is playing phenomenal, okay? But I also think that they could be beaten down the road. And I don't know. I really don't know if we're going to see Tampa Bay back in the Super Bowl this year. It's going to be tough, though, because you don't beat Brady 2 times in the same year.
Well,
so
that's the thing. That's the thing.
If they got to go up against the Rams again, I don't know if the Rams could beat Tom Brady 2 times in 1 year. That's difficult to do. It's let alone beat him 1 time, beat him 2 times. That's difficult.
Yeah, I mean, Brady is known, like you said, for not showing his cards. I mean, they normally don't show their cards at the beginning of the season and really throughout the course of the season. They normally don't show all their cards early on in the season, and that's what we're seeing from this team, even in that game against the Rams. Brady had a big performance, over 400 passing yards against the Rams as well, but it wasn't enough that day. Obviously, didn't turn the ball over. Again, it came down to, Tom Brady not being able to go to his guy Gronk. That was the first game without Gronk. In my opinion, that was a big step back. You add Gronk back into the equation. That's going to be big down the stretch for this team. On the other side, we have to talk about the Eagles. Okay, so the Eagles, week 1, they get a big win over the Falcons, 32-6. Week 2, they lose 17-11 to the 49ers. Week 3, 41-21, they lose to the Cowboys. Week 4, 42-21, they lose to the Chiefs. And then week 5, obviously last week, they have a big game over the Carolina Panthers, a comeback win. I know you and I both. Here's the thing. You and I saw last week this team play. What was your gut feeling watching that Panthers game? I know you and I were all over the Panthers, but watching this team, what's your main takeaway from this Eagles team so far this season?
The first half, dreadful. I mean, they looked absolutely horrible. I think the first quarter, Jalen Hurts barely had any yards after that first quarter. And at halftime, if you would have told me that Philadelphia was going to come back and win that game, I would have told you that you were crazy. They came out in the second half, and they looked a lot better. But in the first half, completely horrible. So do they take that second half that they played to Carolina, which they played a lot better? Does that roll into tonight's game? And do they play the way that they played in that second half against Carolina? We're going to find out tonight. Yeah,
we are going to find out tonight. And as you mentioned, some of the storyline has to be primetime football for Tom Brady. Everyone knows Tom Brady shows up in the biggest of moments. He's there in the biggest of moments. But really, really, for Tom Brady this season, he hasn't been great in primetime football. His 2 closest games this season, both edging out the team by 2 points. Obviously, you're talking about the big game against the Cowboys week 1, edging them out 31-29. Very close game, but it came down to that was a primetime football game. They could have easily, you mentioned it, they could have easily lost that game. A very close game. And then the Patriots, again, it came back from a come from behind game from Tom Brady, a come from behind win for Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. And so, again, his 2 primetime games this season haven't been phenomenal. And here's one thing I want to touch on, and I want your reaction to it. It comes down to last season. This team on short weeks were 0-2. When they played on Thursday Night Football, they went 0-2 last season. And Tom Brady even addressed it this week. He said, hey, we got to perform in these short weeks, especially when you're going up against a team that you don't see that often in the Philadelphia Eagles.
I agree with you. I mean, stats don't lie, and those are great stats that you just gave. Look at Tom Brady in these big moments. He always seems to step up. They could even be down by 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, and here comes Tom Brady. They come back and they win. It's like he's a magician, man. He is out on that field. I mean, and like you said, he doesn't always show all his cards, and he's getting better. He's like wine, man. It gets better as it gets older, as it ages. And this guy, I can see this guy playing for the Tampa Bay Bucs for another 3-4 years.
Well, that's what people are talking about. I mean, he'll be 47 years old. If you talk about 4 years from now, he'll be 47 years old. I don't know if he could do that. I mean, that would be incredible to see. He always talked about making it to 45, and now he's even pushing that back, saying 46, 47, maybe even touching into 50 is what he mentioned. He kind of joked about it last week, but that's got to be something that we're going to look forward to. And now it's time to kind of dive into this game more specifically and to have a little fun with it. It's time to talk about some Vegas numbers here. I know you and I have been hot all the time talking about Vegas, and it comes down to Vegas by the numbers. So this year, this game today, the Philadelphia Eagles are getting 31% of the spread bets at +7. But here's the fun fact. 47% of the money, meaning big money, is on the Eagles +7. Sharps, on the other hand, as well. Sharps are all over the Eagles +7 in this one as well. Sharps at a very high rate, 22-0, are on the Eagles +7 as well. And then talking about the over-under. I mean, we're talking about a lot of sharps being all over the over as well. And then 68% of the money is coming in on the over. So across the board, sharps, experts, and obviously, as we mentioned, we're talking about them all being on Philadelphia +7 and the over. What is your gut feeling on that? What do you think about that coming out today?
I think it makes a lot of sense. I think you're going to see a lot of sharp money on the Eagles, and you're going to see a lot of public money on Tom Brady. And, 8, 9 times out of 10, what happens? Vegas wins. So if you look at it that way, I think the public's going to hammer Tampa Bay. They're like, oh, Tom Brady. They're going to kill the Eagles. The Eagles haven't really done much this year. And I can see this game being a lot closer than people think. Kind of like the Monday night game, Baltimore against the Colts. I mean, the public was hammering Baltimore. We knew, I knew, you knew that the Colts was a gift with the 7.5. They should have won that game straight up. The kicker was hurt. He missed, 3 kicks? But getting back to this game, man, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think you're going to see a lot of public money on the Buccaneers. And towards, game time, this line's probably going to move up to 7.5.
Yeah, I mean, across the board, I think you're going to see it at 7.5 by game time, and maybe at some places maybe even higher. I've seen it already at 7.5. I think Barstool Sports has it at 7.5 currently. And again, this line's going to keep creeping because a lot of the public is all over Tom Brady. I think that just happens because everyone knows what happens in the biggest moment. Tom Brady somehow finds a way to come through. Again, I said it yesterday when we were talking. When you give NFL teams a touchdown to play with, okay, and you're starting off the game already up a touchdown, it's hard to cover that spread. So if you can get it over 7 points, any team in this league, I love taking 7 points. Even in primetime football, I think the games are just automatically going to be closer. And then you talk about an NFC battle. This game means a lot for both these teams. I mean, if you're the Buccaneers, you got to keep winning. You got to keep the momentum going because guess what? Carolina's only a game back. And Carolina had an off week, and Carolina is getting back McCaffrey this week. Carolina is getting Gilmore this week from the Patriots. And all of a sudden, this defense is going to get a little bit stronger. So you're going to have to play Carolina twice. You want as much of a cushion, in my opinion. And the Panthers just lost to the Eagles. So if you get a big win over the Eagles tonight, that could be a statement win for that division. And on the other hand, again, the only team that I see coming out of the NFC East is the Cowboys this year. I think everyone has been talking about this Cowboys team always being a failure at the end of the season, but right now, the Cowboys are the only team right now in the NFC East that is healthy, the only team in the NFC East that can play very strong football, and in my opinion, I don't even think there's a close second. The only team that could even be in the conversation is this Eagles team led by Jalen Hurts. That's where I want to go next, okay? I want your feeling here. What are your thoughts on Jalen Hurts as a quarterback? I know you and I watched that Carolina Panthers game, and a lot of it came down to, does Jalen Hurts have what it takes to be a long-term quarterback in this league? And is he the solution for this Philadelphia team long-term? Obviously, in the short term, they got nothing else. What are your thoughts on Jalen Hurts, longevity in the NFL and longevity for this Eagles team?
Right now, I think he's the quarterback for Philadelphia. Right now, I think maybe for the next few years, 2-3 years. But again, we've seen it year in and year out where this style quarterback, the run and gun kind of style quarterback like Jalen Hurts runs, they don't really make it far. Come playoff times, these teams, they figure them out and they don't make it nowhere. I mean, stats don't lie. So do I see them down the road in a couple years, maybe 2-3 years, looking for another quarterback? I do. Right now, though, look, the guy's got talent. I mean, he can take off. His arm's okay. I mean, I don't think he's great, but I don't think he's horrible, if that makes any sense to you. I think right now, yeah, he fits the Philadelphia Eagles. Down the road, no, I don't think he's their franchise quarterback, if that's what you want. That's what you want.
I mean, here's the thing. This Eagles team with Ertz at the quarterback position, we saw they're pretty one-dimensional. I mean, let's be honest. They're pretty one-dimensional. We saw them last week. And if you can slow down that run and stop it, they're not going to beat you with the pass. They really aren't. They're not going to beat you with the pass this season. And so it comes down to, for this Eagles team, their defense is how they win games. Their defense is how they're going to win games down the stretch in ball games. And frankly, last week was their playbook. 21-18, they get a win over Carolina. That's the type of game this team can win, is a slow, run the ball a lot, run heavy, let our defense do the work, because you got to think about it. This Eagles D-line is probably one of the best in football. Tom Brady mentioned it already, saying this defense is, he said this week that the D-line for the Eagles is the best D-line in the NFL. He touched on it. He said Fletcher Cox, obviously Barnett. I mean, this defense, rather than the Buccaneers, I mean, the Eagles front seven and the Eagles D-line is strong in this league. And tonight, that over-under being at 52, for me, I don't know how the Eagles get the points. For me, it's going to have to come from their defense getting a turnover, forcing a turnover, and getting the ball in good position. We saw that last week against Carolina. They didn't move the ball great down the field, especially in that first half. They didn't move the ball down the field at all in the first half. And in the second half, they were able to do it minimally. But a lot of that was the run from Jalen Hurts, and obviously the field position coughed up by the Carolina Panthers and coughed up, forced by this defense of the Eagles. So the over-under is weird to me today, being at 52. Obviously, it comes off the back of Tom Brady putting up 400 passing yards, 5 touchdowns last week. I think that's in the back of people's mind. That's why that over-under is so high.
Yes, the line started off at Tampa Bay minus 6.5. The over-under was at 50.5, and it's moved up to 7.5 at some books, and the over-under is now, 52? You said 52.5?
Yeah, 52.5 currently.
Okay, so, I mean, it's moving up, so that means people were hammering it at 50.5. Now they're trying to get it to that number, 52.5. I don't know. I don't know how the Eagles are going to put up a ton of points. I think they're going to have to win this game with their defense. I think they're going to have to get Miles Sanders into the running, maybe a little play action. Hurts, you know what he's going to do? He's going to fake the ball off and do that, the run that he did a couple times, against Carolina. He fooled Carolina 2 or 3 times doing that in the second half. So I think they're going to have to run the ball efficiently. I think they're going to have to do some play action to get the ball down the field. But I don't see them putting up a ton of points. I see this being a defensive battle. I really do tonight. I do.
So, Sal, I mean, you and I are both all over the Eagles tonight, and we're going to dive into that later in this podcast. But I think it's time, and again, for everyone out there that's listening to this, moving forward, we're going to try to get a lot of people calling in. I want to get a lot of people coming on the air. I want to get your guys' opinions. I want to create a community of people to be able to come on and talk and kind of go back and forth with us. And today we kick that off. So we're going to take our first caller here with Sal and I. The first caller we're taking is Eric E. Money. He goes by Eric E. Money is in the house. So let's talk about this game tonight. E-Money, welcome to the Pick Vault. I know you were out in Vegas last week. You saw Deontay Wilder. You saw the Fury fight. Before we dive into your opinion on tonight's game, you got to tell me, how was that fight with Fury Wilder, and really, what was the biggest takeaway that you saw from that fight?
It was cool. Other than spending too many days in Vegas, I think I need to limit it to 3 days versus 5 days, other than learning that. Listen, everybody's favorite sport is the sport they played, right? I played football and basketball my whole life, but I'm telling you, man, I never boxed and never did MMA, but, people need to venture out a little bit and start to try to appreciate other sports. I'm telling you, combat sports is just as exciting as it gets. It's like, look, it felt like a Super Bowl. It was that wild of an environment. And to see two just massive men slug it out like that, it's something else. There's no other sport like it other than combat sports. So it was a good time, and I'm still hurting for it.
Of course. I mean, many people that were at that fight, and even people that have followed boxing for a long time, have said that was an instant classic boxing match, and obviously the best fight of this year so far across the board. It doesn't matter, UFC, MMA, or boxing, obviously. This was the fight of the year, and obviously you being there, the atmosphere was crazy. And again, What was it like when Fury picked up the mic when it's done? I have to ask because, I posted it on the Pick Vault story. What was it like when he gets the win, he picks up the mic, and he starts singing out there to everyone?
So it makes me think that having a dad bod is the way to go because the guy's got a dad bod. He's in a slugfest. It felt like a Rocky movie, right? It almost felt surreal. These guys are both just dropping each other down, going blow for blow. Once you think there's momentum one way, it shifts the next way. And then for a dad bod guy to get out of a professional fight to start singing at the top of his lungs, I think we're maybe all fooled that the chiseled body's the way to go. Maybe the new athletic bod is the dad bod.
Of course. And what's funny about that, you kind of mentioned it, the dad bod, and all of a sudden it's kind of cool being a dad these days. We're talking about tonight one of the, dad bods of the NFL taking the quarterback helmet, the GOAT of quarterbacks, Tom Brady, taking the ball tonight. So my question your way, okay? Tom Brady's 43 years old, okay? He's playing some of the best football of his career, if not the best football of the career. We just touched on it before you hopped on, 15 touchdown passes, 2 picks. He's got 1,700 yards, over 1,700 yards, only through 5 games. He's got the clear MVP favorite. He leads fantasy points for all quarterbacks across the league. What is this guy doing, and how do you stop what he's doing? What is he doing so different from anyone else, and how do you stop it if you're the Eagles tonight?
Well, it's obviously a very long conversation, but what's really interesting? About a year and a half ago, if you guys remember when Tom Brady was in his last year in New England, we know that Belichick was a little reluctant to really get some talent around him, and that was offensive weapons is what I mean by talent, right? Of
course.
But Brady wasn't looking as sharp as he was. Now, the interesting thing is to me, it's obviously he's in an environment where he feels more comfortable. He's got more talent. Weather might have to do with it. Nobody's brought this up yet. I'm a 41-year-old guy. I just moved down to South Florida a year ago. There might be a weather component to him being a little bit more loose. Maybe it was a little hard to get loose up in New England where it's already 50 degrees. But obviously the guy's locked in. He's just as engaged as ever. I heard Brady actually say something really interesting about a month ago, maybe a couple months back. He goes, listen, I'm not getting any better. He goes, don't get it twisted. I'm not getting better. I'm just not allowing myself to fall off yet. So if he's not getting better, and he's just not falling off. He's just kind of holding off that father time. But now he's got some talent around him. He's in a warm climate, and he feels appreciated. It's all psyche, and the guy is clearly motivated to try to get a couple more Super Bowls. So he's
And a big thing that I want to touch on, you kind of mentioned it, Brady saying he's not getting better, but the stats are getting better. So the one thing you got to look across the board, as you mentioned, there's other factors that are playing into it. Maybe it's weather, but also you got to talk about the fact that he has probably right now the best talent around him. We just touched on it. Right now he's got Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Godwin. You talk about Fournette, and then when Gronk's healthy, he could literally just throw the ball up there, and someone's going to catch it. Someone's going to come down with it. And if you actually remember, the year before Brady went to Tampa Bay, the year before he actually got there, Jameis Winston was putting up like 400 yards a game. Yes, he turned the ball over a ton. I think it was the first season ever where a quarterback had 30 touchdowns and 30 picks.
30 for 30.
Exactly. And so Tom Brady, isn't going to turn the ball over 30 times. Let's be real about it. But at the same time, it wasn't like this offense was one-dimensional before Brady came in and all of a sudden, Brady brought this magic to this offense. He just was that missing piece in that offense. And really, the one thing you got to talk about Bruce Arians compared to, Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick was a defensive guy. He wanted that game to be, control the ball, control the clock, not turn the ball over, and let our defense showcase and bring us to the, the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers this week on a podcast, I think it was the Pat McAfee show, talked about the fact that, hey, if I had the defenses that Tom Brady had throughout the course of his career, I would have 5, 6, 7 Super Bowls myself. So the defense is really a big key element in New England, and all of a sudden, that completely shifted when he went to Tampa Bay. Sal, what are your thoughts on the difference, between that defensive mindset in New England, and we're going to control the ball, we're going to run the ball, we're going to, pass the ball short to Edelman, keep it in the hands of Gronk, Versus now, we're seeing him throw the ball down the field. Actually, I saw a stat today saying that he actually has the longest pass in the NFL through the air this season. He has the fastest pass in the NFL this season. And again, he's 43 years old. So you start mentioning these like extra stats and different things that are angling towards him doing a different style of football. And as E just said, Brady's saying, I'm not getting better. He's just doing it a little bit different. What are your thoughts on the dimensionality of what he's doing right now?
Well, look, I always thought defense does win championships, okay? I'm a big defensive guy, but look, Brady, what he's doing, no matter the receivers he's got, yes, he's got some great receivers, but he's still got to get the ball down the field, and he's still got to make accurate throws to get it to these guys, okay? So, look, I'm not taking nothing against him. I'm a huge Bills fan. We went up against Brady 2 times every year. I hated Brady with a passion because I knew every time that my Buffalo Bills played Tom Brady, we were going to lose. I think we beat him 2 times out of like 30 times, some crazy stat like that.
Well, and Brady's not an idiot. Let's take a second here. Brady might be one of the smartest guys ever we've seen in sports. And you really think about it, he is smart in the fact that he knew what was coming. Okay, realistically, Josh Allen and that Bills team is on the come up. That defense in Buffalo is strong, is tough, is mighty, and all of a sudden, the shifting before Brady even left, the focus of the AFC East was shifting already. I mean, obviously the Jets got a long way to go, and other teams, the Dolphins. I mean, everyone's got a long. But all of a sudden, if he was going to have to compete with the Buffalo Bills for the next 3 years, right? It would have been very difficult for him. Moving into the NFC South with Drew Brees leaving. Okay, so now the Saints are going through a rebuild. Matt Ryan on the back end, kind of like dangling onto his career. They're kind of going through a rebuild. And then in Carolina, as we mentioned, they got Sam Darnold, the ex-Jet. I mean, let's be real. I'm a Carolina guy. I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. But Sam Darnold's not winning us a Super Bowl. So you think about where, and even before that, it was Teddy Bridgewater. So when he came into the situation, he left the AFC East just in time at the perfect moment and went into the perfect scenario, the perfect storm, if you would, to kind of get it done. So I almost think we're talking about not only the most skilled player we've seen in the NFL, but really the smartest and most emotionally, people talk about emotional awareness and intellect. He knows what was coming, and he knew it was coming, and he left at the perfect time. So, E, what is your, prediction tonight? Obviously, we're going to, talk about this game exclusively and continue this conversation, but what is your takeaway from tonight? The Eagles obviously getting 7 points right now, according across the book, and the Buccaneers giving 7 points in primetime football. We mentioned it earlier. This Buccaneers team with Tom Brady is 0-2 playing on Thursday Night Football. Again, a stat I kind of came across this week on the short week, and Brady kind of talked on it as well. On a short week, there's just that little bit of, you're cramming for a test is what Brady said. You're just kind of cramming, and, everyone's kind of getting healthy and coming, and all of a sudden you're playing a lot sooner than you would expect. What do you think we see tonight from the Buccaneers, and what do you think we see tonight from Jalen Hurts and this Eagles team that's very defensively strong?
It's a good question because there's a few athletes in pro sports you don't like betting against, right? LeBron, Brady, right? There's a few guys in every sport, right? And I bet, and I would be curious to look this up. If you look at Tom Brady's career, ATS, right, against the spread, I remember those Patriots teams were constantly, ridiculous records every year, 11-5 ATS, right? They always kind of beat the spread. So it's so hard to bet against Tom Brady. It really is. But I was looking at some numbers, and I think there's this kind of psyche or psychology out there right now that Jalen Hurts is playing awful football. I look through all the quarterback stats, and if you forget, the arbitrary, forget the QBR stuff and all that stuff, just look at the raw numbers. Dude, the guy's actually playing halfway decent. He's right around the middle of the pack of everything. Now, he's not lighting the world on fire with his passing statistics, but this will blow your mind. He's got more passing yards than Aaron Rodgers this year. So the guy isn't playing terrible football. And guess there's only one other quarterback that has more rushing yards than this guy. It's Lamar Jackson. So when you throw in a mid-tier kind of passing game, which he has right now, he's not turning the ball over a ton. And then you throw in that rushing element. It just creates, I don't want to say overwhelming problem, but a significant enough problem that when plays break down, the team can be a little bit scary. I think this is a trap bet game. I really liked Philly tonight. And here's my other reason why. Tampa's playing very well, but that Miami team is trash. So I don't take too much credence to that. And the game against New England, I knew there was a lot of emotion in that game, but they should have wiped the floor with New England, because the more I'm looking at New England, there's a chance if New England doesn't win this weekend against the Cowboys and they go 2-4, you might see a team that only wins 4 or 5 games throughout the year. You might see a total reset, a total absolute rebuild. So I don't. And Tampa, they had that one game against the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys outplayed them. Now, don't get me wrong, the Cowboys look like they're a juggernaut right now, but I actually think Tampa's playing very good, but they look far from unbeatable. I think they win the game, but I love Philly tonight. Oh my God, I love Philly. I'm not saying sprinkle anything on the money line, but I like Philly tonight. I think if I'm ever going to bet against Brady, it's tonight. And you also made another really good point with, the short week. Maybe Brady needs that full week of preparation because he's so analytical in terms of his preparation. I could really see where that short week could really hurt Brady's, not necessarily mindset, but maybe what he feels comfortable with in terms of full preparation. I like Philly with the points in a close game. I think it's a 5 or 6 point game, but I love Philly.
Yeah, and Philly's the fans are going to come out tonight, and the fans are going to be a big element because, hey, Philly hasn't won a game yet with this new coach with Nick. I forget, I don't know how to say his last name exactly, but they haven't won a game at home yet under this new coaching staff, and obviously this season 0-2 at home. They're not accepting of losing this Philadelphia fan base. They're not accepting of losing across the board, but losing at home, and like you mentioned, this team, the Buccaneers, in the short week, Brady's got a hurt hand. I do agree with you. If there's ever been a time to bet against Tom Brady, I don't do it often, it could be tonight. I love that point. I think it was great. And it was great having you join the Pick Vault. We're going to have you on. I know we got Monday Night Football. Your Bills are playing. We're going to have you call in again on Monday night, but it's been great having you. Awesome. So E, thanks for joining the Pick Vault. We're going to continue this conversation. And like I said, I look forward to having you come back.
Hey, take care, buddy. Take care, E.
So, again, that was E. Again, he called in, and he had a lot of great points. I mean, he touched on a lot of things there, and I do agree with a lot of the things that he was saying. And you're talking about, this team. I mean, the Buccaneers, they're not beatable. I mean, they're not unbeatable. Put it that way.
They're not unbeatable.
I mean, so going off of what he mentioned, what are your thought process on the Eagles tonight? The Eagles plus the 7. What are your thoughts?
Look, I think he hit the nail. He hit it right on the hammer. I mean, it's tough to bet against Tom Brady. And, a lot of times, what people think is, what? If I lose, at least I can say I lost taking Tom Brady. Okay? Granted, he's the best quarterback in the world. We'll never see another quarterback win as many championships as Tom Brady and put up the numbers that Tom Brady did. But I think tonight, this is the spot to go against them. I think it's a trap. I think the public's going to hammer him. Like we said earlier, the public's going to hammer Tom Brady. And I'm telling you, the Eagles are going to cover this spread tonight. Yeah, I don't know if they win the game. I don't think they're going to win the game. You know what? But it can happen. I don't think that they don't have a chance not to win the game. I think they have a very good shot to win this game tonight. I think the 7.5, I would take it at 7.5, which I think it's at 7.5 now. Look, I think it's a gift. I think, like you said, a touchdown, being down a touchdown to start the game in the NFL is very tough, especially night football. Take the home points on night football. My father told me that was the rule, you have to take the home team with the points on night football is like the rule, man. The rule of betting. My father taught me that at a young age. And listen, I'm going to go with that. My dad, rest in peace up there. I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles plus the 7.5. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a gritty game. And I think they cover the spread. It's going to be like a 3 to 4 point game. We're going to go We're gonna go 28-24 Tampa, but we're taking the Eagles with the 7.5. Lock that shit in. Let's grease these wheels. Let's jump on the train and let's fucking go. Choo-choo. Take the button.
So, Sal, you just got fired up there. You just got fired up, and you said 28-24. And now we're going to take another caller here. We got a caller, Stephen Moss, calling in. So, Stephen, welcome to the Pick Vault. It's been, again, you just heard Sal go on a rant. You heard the choo-choo. You heard everything going on. You know, what are your thoughts on this game tonight? Obviously, the 4-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading into Philadelphia. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me on again. Last time I was on, Yankees didn't exactly play the way I think everyone expected them to, with Derek Cole, getting paid $300 million for 3 innings of baseball. But we'll get past that. The Eagles tonight are actually.
I think we just lost him. I guess he's not 100%.
Just dropped our first call, our second call.
Love it. So I'm sure we'll get him. We're going to try to get him back on the air here. But again, you're talking about this Eagles team. Steven, you there? Okay, hold on. We're going to have to get him back on the line here. So again, this Eagles team is playing good football, coming off a win last week over the Carolina Panthers. Let me see if Steven's back on. Steven,
Your call has been.
No, he's gone. All right, so we're going to move on from Steven, but that Eagles team, this year, as I mentioned earlier in the show, this Eagles team is strong on the defensive side of the football. They can play and compete with everyone, and E touched on it across the board. E said it. He said, hey, Jalen Hurts is in the middle of the pack passing, and the one thing he didn't touch on is, yes, his rushing yards, or he has the second most rushing yards in the league from the quarterback position. He actually leads this Eagles team rushing the ball for 43 carries, 253 yards on the season, 3 touchdowns rushing. So you look at the stats there, and you add that into the equation, and we talk about it all the time, you and I. When you have that RPO style of football, your defense is going to have to step up. Even the year the Carolina Panthers, I go back to because I know the Carolina Panthers well. The year the Carolina Panthers went 15-1 in the regular season and made it to the Super Bowl, ending up losing to the Broncos in the Super Bowl, their defense was the second best defense in the league, only to the Broncos. We had Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis. That defense was strong. I'm telling you right now, this defensive line in the front 7 for this Eagles team is just as strong as any defense in the league this year. And when you're talking about it, again, Jalen Hurts is good enough, in my opinion, to get them there. I just don't know if he's the answer long term. So we're going to take a caller here. Again, this is Fat Global calling in. So Fat Global, welcome to the Pick Vault. We've been waiting to have you on for a while. We're happy you're here. And guess what? We need your opinion, Fat Global, because we just had 2 callers call in, and both of them are all over the Eagles tonight. I got to hear your thoughts. Obviously, Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, Tampa Bay, heading into to Philadelphia. What are your thoughts tonight?
What's going on, fam? And Sports Betting Nation, how are you guys doing? I want to
what's up, buddy?
What's going on, Sally Pigs? How are you guys? I would like to just chime in and let you guys know today about my picks. And I think we have a problem, Houston. Uh-oh. So we're gonna go. So today, guys, I like the San Fran Giants, man, at MLB. Are we talking about football or baseball?
Well, we're talking about football right now, but we'll hop there in a minute. Okay. Now that you've thrown that one out there, now you got me loose over here. Let's start with the Buccaneers versus listen, I was expecting a fastball and you threw a curve there for no reason, but I love it.
All right, well, let's talk about it. Tonight, I got Tampa Bay Buccaneers keeping their record on the up and up. They're going to win on the money line. But if you guys want to take the juice tonight, you want to get a favorable points, take the +7 with the Eagles, because I think they might cover. Even if they don't, hey, it was a good fight. You know what I mean, guys? You don't have to, have your panties all in a bunch. If Tom Brady beats them by 2 touchdowns, it was worth it. The juice is real. It was, what's his +7 is for the Eagles is what?
It's currently +7, and as you mentioned, when you go against, and we touched on it earlier, Sal kind of hopped all over it. He said, when you're betting against Tom Brady, it's one of the worst feelings in the world. People have done it throughout the course of his career. It doesn't matter. Listen, You're almost better off hoping the Eagles take a lead, and then you just live bet Tom Brady, and then you get the double whammy because you got the Eagles plus the points, and then all of a sudden you can get Brady at a favorable number. Then you don't care what happens. But as you mentioned, Fat Global, it's tough betting against Brady at any point. I mean, I think the Buccaneers are good enough and should win this game. Again, it'd be a letdown if they don't win it. But I do think in the NFL, and we've talked about it throughout the course of the podcast, I do think in the NFL, you give a team over a touchdown, especially at home, especially in primetime football, especially in a kind of a must-win scenario. I mean, this Philadelphia Eagles team is 2-3. It's a must-win game for them. You go to 2-4, you could pretty much say bye-bye to the Cowboys who are moving forward. I mean, yes, you play them twice. But
you got to look at it, too. They're playing tug-of-war with the Giants and the Redskins. So they can take an L. I don't know, guys.
What do you mean they can take an L? They can't make the playoffs if they don't win that division, especially with a losing record.
Division. That's the only way they make the playoffs. You got to win that division. That's the only way.
You know they're going to win the division because the Cowboys are going to win that division. Come on, guys. Let's be frank.
I'm agreeing with you, but that's what I'm saying. This is a must-win scenario for them. If they lose this one, who cares if you get third place in the division or second place in the division?
They don't care because they're going to take the wild card from either one of the Giants or the Redskins. They're going to figure it out.
No way.
You know what I mean?
No way. Nobody's
going to come close to Dallas. Not the way Dallas is playing this year. Dallas is on a different level. They're already 4-1. If the Eagles drop to 2-4 tonight, Dallas might not lose 4 games the whole season.
Yeah, I agree.
So this is a must win.
And there's no way that a team from the NFC East this year is getting the wild card. The Giants are battered and bruised. I would be surprised if the Giants at this rate win 5 games on the year. They're out of the wild card picture. The only other team maybe is the Washington football team, but that team doesn't really have a quarterback. Obviously, they're playing with Heineke at the quarterback position. I mean, and you're dealing with injuries across that team. Wide receivers out, running backs out, and obviously we mentioned Ryan Fitzpatrick's out for the foreseeable future. So that team's kind of gone, and this team, like you said, you move to 2-4. You're done. You're done. This season's over. So this game is a must-win scenario at home for the Philadelphia Eagles tonight. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. You go to 500, who knows? Maybe you can get a winning record on this season. You do play the Giants 2 times remaining. They could beat them again both times. You do play the Washington football team 2 times. You maybe could beat them both times. And all of a sudden, this team's got a shot. But other than that, there's no team from the NFC East getting a wild card this season, especially when you got the Bucs as strong as they are. The Carolina Panthers are going to go for a wild card spot, in my opinion. They're going to be fighting down the stretch of the season. And then you talk about the other NFC teams. You got the Cardinals. You got the Rams, and they're in the same division, so one of them has to get a wild card. So there's really no shot, in my opinion, that an NFC East team gets a wild card.
Don't forget about the Packers. You know?
Of course.
You guys are headstrong. Already it's too early to predict all this. I'm just going to let you guys know. Eagles take an L tonight, and it might take it in a profusively way. It might take a 14-point lose tonight. I think Tom Brady is going to solidify it. He covers. Did Tom Brady cover last week?
No. Well, last week he did. 2 weeks ago he didn't. Yeah. Last week he did. 2 weeks ago he didn't.
Okay. So this is a probability. Yeah, Eagles might cover.
Well, hold on. You're going back and listen.
You're all over the place.
You said they might cover, they might not. Tom Brady might. They're going to get the win. 14.
I'm leaving it up in the air for the guests to decide. I'm not going to make nothing final. My heart of hearts, Tom Brady beat him by 14 points. That's my heart of hearts.
All right, so you're going with Tampa Bay -7 is your pick. It sounds like.
That's my pick.
Love it.
Tom Brady's going to definitely do it.
Okay, but if you're coming on, you got to be solid with that. You can't say maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. You got to give the people what they're here for.
You can't be a flip-flopper. You can't be a flip-flopper, Fat Global. It's either one way or the other. You're telling the fans to take Tampa Bay with the points. Okay,
all right,
we're going with the Eagles.
The only reason why I spoke about it because I love both bets. I'll lay a little juice on both. I'm not lying. I'm being straight up with you guys. I like the +7 with the Eagles, but I'm guaranteed don't put your eggs all in one basket. That's all I'm saying to you guys. And then I'm saying that Tom Brady might show off tonight and drop 14 on the closure. Let's go.
Well, you do understand if you bet the +7 and the -7, you automatically lose money 100% of the time.
No. I'm not even worried about that. I don't have to take the -7 with Tom Brady because I know it's a guaranteed win. I'll double down and take that $300 juice and lose on better on the money line and just double down harder, put a bigger bankroll on it, then I'll lay a little egg juice on the damn +7.
All right, listen. You've been all over the place when it comes to the NFL. Let's let you have your moment here. I want to hear what you got tonight in the MLB. I know you hopped on here. You wanted to talk about the Giants and the Dodgers. So give your pick, and listen, whatever you say, you got to go with. You can't, I don't want to hear the Giants might win it and the Dodgers might win it. That's what betting's about. Give me who you're taking tonight in this MLB game. Obviously, as we mentioned, NLCS, winner take all.
San Fran tonight, baby. San Fran's coming home with it. San Fran's going to do it tonight. I love San Fran, baby. And I like the under.
They're tough at home. They're tough at home, man. So I know a few nights ago, I was all over San Fran. The more I look at it, this is just a tough game. It could go either way. I do love a Nerfy, though. I do like the Nerfy. No points in the first inning. That is a good play, I think. Nerfy in that game. No runs scored in the first inning. I love that bet. As far as taking a side.
You took the Dodgers.
I took the Dodgers 2 nights ago. I'm talking about tonight's game. We're talking about tonight's game.
You didn't take the Dodgers tonight?
I haven't took nothing yet tonight. That's what I'm saying. I don't know which way to go in the game. It's very tough, man. I do like a Nerfy, though. No runs scored in the first inning. I think that's a solid bet. As far as who's going to win this game, wow, this is going to be a game. This is going to be a game. And there's going to be a lot of people that are tuned in. What time does this game go off at?
That's late. That's late. Listen,
10 o'clock?
You could watch the Eagles cover the spread and then turn the channel and you'll be right in the middle of this NLCS matchup. But here's the thing, global. Here's the funny thing. You and I love each other, and we get along pretty well off air and on air and everything. But it comes down to this. Tonight, I think you're nuts. I'm taking the Eagles plus the points. I think Jalen Hurts balls out. I think we see a little bit of running. I think we see a little bit of performance out of him. I think the defense shows up tonight, and I do think you're going to see them cover the spread. I do think the Bucs win the game, but I do think the Eagles cover the spread on the baseball game. In the NLCS, you look across the board, I think tonight is going to go to the Dodgers. I think Urias is on the mound. I think he brings a lot of energy, especially as I mentioned. This Giants team won the regular season. And don't forget, this is a rivalry matchup. This Giants team won the division. They're in the playoffs. They have home field advantage. The Dodgers are coming in saying, hey, you know what? We had to play in a wild card after winning 108 games in the regular season. They win that wild card game. They then go, and they obviously, as I said, have been playing strong throughout the course of this series. And I think tonight you see them put the nail in the coffin and say, listen, MLB screwed up having us play in the wild card game. We should never have to play in this moment here. They should have. The team that wins 108 games should never have to play a wild card game. And I think the MLB, it was atrocious that they did it. But listen, they got their money. They got what they wanted. And that's what they're getting right here. And it's a winner take all, winner go home for one game. The Giants, Dodgers, biggest game.
All I'm going to do is say, hold up, wait 1 minute right there. It's 2 dog fights tonight. You have the Eagles and the Bucs, and you have the Dodgers, and you have the damn San Francisco Giants. I'm telling you this, the game in football, you can go ahead and bet the over in that game. And then you can bet the under inside the baseball game because it's going under 7, and it's going to be a dog fight, and the Giants going to come out on top. But if all you guys out there in the fan-filled world, if you love the Eagles guys tonight, take the +7. I don't care, but I know Tom Brady's not going to go home without a fight. They're going to win that game. Tom Brady is going to bust that. I'm telling you.
All right, Global, it was great having you on. We'll give you a call later. Thanks for calling into the Pick Vault. We're happy to have you, and we look forward to having you on in the future.
What do you guys think about NHL tonight?
We'll hop on. Well, hey, listen, we'll dive into that after this Thursday Night Football podcast. The fans out there all over it. We'll give you a call, all right? We'll see you. So, hey, that was Pat Global, and I gotta have a moment here because listen. I love Global, but we love
you, Global.
He just had the Eagles +7, but the Buccaneers could cover the 7, maybe 14. And then it was the Dodgers. I mean, the Giants are going to win, but maybe the Dodgers play good. Listen.
He's got some personal stuff going on right now, we think. Okay. He's got some other stuff going on right now.
Listen.
We love you, Global.
Listen, the best thing is Global. Here's the thing. The best thing is you listen to this podcast, we got you covered because we don't do none of that up in the air stuff. We lock shit in here at the Pick Vault, and that's what we're doing now.
Right.
Now it's time to lock it in, all right, Sal? Because everyone's waiting for our picks, right? We've gone through. We've had 3 great callers. Obviously, one dropped off. We'll get him back next time because Steven has a lot of good insight. We talked to him earlier today. Steven has a lot of good insight. We want to have him on.
Can I say one thing?
Of course.
to the Pick Vault Nation and to Sally Picks 585 Bet Nation. We are 8-0. Me and Matt are 8-0 when it comes to the podcast picks. 8-0. Our player props are probably hitting at 85%. Just go back and look at all the podcasts. But with the spread on night games, when we have done a podcast, we are 8-0. We are going for 9-0 tonight. Let's lock this shit in and let's go.
Yeah, exactly. So Sal's mentioned it, 8-0 in primetime football, Sal and I, when we do a podcast together, and we're going for 9-0 tonight. But before we do, obviously we're going to do player props. Before we do, we have to remind Pick Vault Nation, everyone out there, that the Pick Vault is for entertainment purposes only, and we're happy you guys are here.
The following media content is for entertainment purposes only and should not be used for the purpose of in-person or online, legal or illegal sports wagering or gambling of any kind. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. By continuing to watch this media content, you're accepting the Pick Vault LLC's terms of use, terms of conditions, and privacy policy located at www.thepickvault.com.
Hey, real quick, Matt, what's that number? I need that number.
Love it.
Let's go.
So again, now that that's out of the way, it's time. Again, we're going to dive into player props. And listen, you guys, you've heard a lot. These are the Pick Vault plays, and these are Sally Pick 585 bets. Everything you've heard previously is all about everyone's energy out there. And now it's time, like I said, to lock the plays. And we're going to start with player props here, Sal. What is one player prop you love tonight? And then I'll give the Pick Vault plays across the board. But what is one player prop you love tonight in primetime football, Thursday Night Football, Bucs, Eagles? What are you taking?
I'm going with Tom Brady over 296.5 yards throwing. Tom Brady over 296.5 yards. Take it down to 296 yards. Lock that shit in. Let's fucking go.
Love it. And again, the Pick Vault's all over that as well. We actually have Tom Brady today. Again, we everything at the Pick Vault's brought to you by the artificial intelligence-backed computer simulations. That's how we get our picks. That's how we get our plays. And tonight, our score projection, and obviously our stat projection, has Tom Brady getting an average through the simulation, an average of 314.5 yards, so way over that 296.5. I've seen that number creep up to about 300. I take it anything under 301 yards. I think you take the over on it for Tom Brady. I think he has a big day tonight. I think you're going to have a lot of second half passing yards from Tom Brady today. We're taking the over 296.5 passing yards for Tom Brady. Next up, we got Miles Sanders. Again, for the Eagles, I said it before, I'll say it again. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to beat you passing the ball. I think today it's going to have to be the rush that's going to keep them in the ball game, whether that's coming from Hurts or whether it's coming from Sanders. We're taking Miles Sanders over 32.5 rushing yards. And again, the Pick Vault has him getting 43.5 rushing yards today. Two great plays.
Love it.
Next up, plus 200. Get the value. Throw a half a unit maybe or a full unit on it. The next up, we got Zach Ertz. Anytime touchdown score at plus 200. Again, you don't have many deep weapons for this Jalen Hurts, and especially in the red zone. I think he's going to go to his tight end. I think he's going to keep the ball short, play it across the middle. I think Zach Ertz gets in the end zone tonight. Pick Vault has him getting in the end zone at 63% of the time of our simulations. So Zach Ertz, anytime touchdown score at plus 200. There's great value there. Next up, again, Tom Brady. As much as we're thinking he's going to throw the ball a lot tonight, I do think you're going to see a lot of yards out of Leonard Fournette. The Pick Vault play is Fournette over 63 rushing yards. We're talking about him having to step up this season, especially Brady's hands been bothering him. Let's see in the red zone if they hand the ball off to Fournette. So Fournette over 63 rushing yards tonight. And then the final play for Pick Vault Nation. Now this one is an interesting one. It's Tom Brady over a half a rushing yards. Listen, across the books, it's been shifting all day. So whatever you guys get it at, again, I'm going to say it here. If you can get it at a half a yard, Tom Brady over a half a yard, you take it. Anything over a yard, I say you stay away from it, okay? Because, again, he needs the ball at the end of the game if they got the lead, and you could lose that yard. Anything over a half a yard, because I've seen it at books at a half a yard. I've seen it at books at 1.5 yards. So Tom Brady over a half a rushing yards at plus 100. That was at DraftKings this morning. I don't know what it's at right now, but DraftKings this morning, Tom Brady over 1/2 rushing yard. One more time for everyone out there. Tom Brady over 296.5 passing yards. Miles Sanders over 32.5 rushing yards. Zach Ertz anytime touchdown score at plus 200. Leonard Fournette over 63 rushing yards. And finally, capping it off, Tom Brady over a half a rushing yard tonight. Great plays across the board. Sal mentioned we go 4 for 5 last week. We go 5 for 5 the week before that. And 4 for 5 the week before that. Our plays, our player props have been on the money. And now it's time for everyone out there to hear the Pick Vault plays of the day. And Sally Pick 585 Bets play of the day. Let's hear it, Sal. What's your spread play tonight and what's your over-under play? Let's hear it. Put the glasses on. Let's see it.
Put the glasses on. I've been hotter than a fucking pistol. I'm going to give the world the Pick Vault Nation. I'm going to give you guys the pick. We're going to take the Philadelphia Eagles plus 7.5. Lock that shit in. And then if you want to do a little teaser, you guys want to do a little teaser, take the Eagles plus 14.5. And it would be what? We're going to take it over 45. 45. So you can take them plus 14.5, over 45. But my main pick, Eagles plus 7.5. Let's grease the fucking wheels. Let's jump on the train. And let's go. Go, go.
So you heard it there. Sally Picks 585 Bets is all on the Eagles plus 7.5. And again, the Pick Vault is riding with Sally Picks. Actually, I think Sally Picks is riding with the Pick Vault because the Pick Vault score projection is 30.1 for the Bucs to 24.5 for the Eagles. We got the estimated AI spread being right around 5.6 points, and we are taking the over as well. So the two plays for the Pick Vault are the over 52.5 and the Eagles plus 7.5, and our play of the day is that two-team 7-point teaser. We got the Eagles plus 14 and the over 45.5. Again, that's a great play. I think on primetime football, you're going to see a lot of points being scored tonight, and I do think giving 2 touchdowns, even Fat Global might agree with us there at 14 points. That might be the Fat Global special. I might call it that tonight. You guys got to lock that one in. Eagles plus 14 and the over 45.5 points. Two-team teaser. And again, Pick Vault Nation, we're happy that you guys tuned in today. We had a bunch of guests, and moving forward, we want to have more. So if you guys want to be on the Pick Vault, you want to be featured on the podcast, or even, hey, we can have you join in and actually see you guys. That's one thing we want to try to get on the app as well, getting to see you guys face and interact with you guys in a new way. And everyone out there, today at 6 p.m., Sally and I will be on the Train Show on Instagram. All you got to do is tap in and watch us live at 6 p.m. You guys can interact and jump on and talk to us there as well. And again, Pick Vault Nation, it's going to be a great night. Again, NLCS, the Pick Vault's taking the Dodgers. And we're also here in primetime Thursday Night Football. Eagles plus 7.5 and the over 52.5. And then the play of the day for us is that two-team 7-point teaser, the Eagles plus 14 and the over 45.5. And before we go, Sally Picks, what do you got to say to Pick Vault Nation before we hop off and say goodbye?
I just want to say, look, this has been an honor. Not only have we built a friendship, okay? I think me and you work great together, okay? We're 8-0, man. We are 8-0. We're going to go 9-0 tonight. I love the Eagles plus the 7.5, and I also love the Pick Vault. I love that teaser. I think 14.5 is just way too many points, and I see it going over the 45.5. So I love that play. Listen, thank you once again for having me. Thank you for everything. I love what you're doing. Let's keep doing this. Let's keep giving the world these winners, man. I love everybody out there, man. Till next time, man. Let's go.
Exactly. And Sally, one more time for everyone out there at Pick Vault Nation, if you guys don't follow at Sally Picks 585 Bets, you got to do it right now because he gives his picks out to the world a bunch, and he actually is also offering packages for you guys to be able to hop on and buy. And I think in the near future, you'll be able to purchase his packages through the Pick Vault mobile app, which is what I'm going to say before we head off. Everyone out there, if you haven't downloaded the Pick Vault mobile app, it is time to unlock your money today. All you got to do is go to www.thepickvault.com and subscribe on the website. You guys can pay through PayPal, credit card, whatever you guys want to pay through, the option is there. But guess what? We do have the best, the number one artificial intelligence sports pick out there right now, available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Go to the store right now, download the app, and you right there will get a 7-day free trial. You could unlock your money today. You get access to all of our picks, all of our plays, and all of our score projections brought to you by the artificial intelligence-backed computer simulations that is the Pick Vault. Guys, It's the best deal out there across the board. Less than $1 a day. You guys get picks across the freaking board. We'll see you over there at the Pick Vault mobile app. And again, for everyone out there, let's make some money tonight. It's time to unlock your money. We are OUT out.
You've been listening to the Pick Vault, America's premier sports gambling consultation firm, are ready to make you a winner and unlock your money. Make sure to hit the website at www.thepickvault.com. Find the app and subscribe to receive exclusive member content, including our picks, live updates, and sports news. Follow on Twitter and Instagram at The Pick Vault, taking sports gambling to the next level. Till next time, this is The Pick Vault, signing off.